I have determined that I will not commence removal proceedings at this time, are operating only with the city's best interests in mind, unimpeded by any legal agreements with the Trump Justice Department. But there's a clear line between cooperation and coercion. We know they'll stop at nothing to try and exercise control over New York. New York is facing a grave threat from Washington. New York is facing a grave threat from Washington. The Trump administration has said is already trying to use the legal jeopardy facing our mayor as leverage to squeeze and punish our city. The president's already trying to weaken our public transit system and undermine our state sovereignty. I call it the Trump revenge tour, and I have to stand in its way. Not surprising, he's taking out his anger and frustration over the 35 felony convictions he received here in the state of New York, taken out on our own New Yorkers. And as governor, I will be the vanguard against harm to our state and our people. And nothing will stand in our way. Once I have made a decision, I execute it, work hard to make it work. My decision today did not come lightly, but the path forward for me is clear. I will retain the powers conferred upon me by the New York State Constitution, the City Charter, but it's my sincere hope that these dark days will pass, elections will occur, and the people of New York will decide who they trust to govern this extraordinary city. And we can remain laser focused and united against the storm clouds that are swirling 226 miles away in our nation's capital. My eyes are on the city, the state, and on Washington. And I'm ready and prepared to take on any fight against any threats to the well-being of our residents. So you're saying it's better to ignore the provisions in our Constitution that call for free and fair elections?
Can you just walk that out for my listeners?
No, we have elections in our country and in our state. It's what separates us out from places where they do actually have kings and dictators. This is something I take very seriously. And it is up to the voters of this great city to determine who they want to continue as their leader or bring in a new leader. It is up to them. That is a sacred right that they have, and I will not deny them that.
And it sounded like you've spoken to the mayor. Are you confident he'll choose experienced professionals as opposed to sort of combative loyalists like Kaz Daughtry, who was reported is up for the deputy mayor of public safety? If you could at all characterize your conversations with him, what did he say? How did he feel about these proposed changes?
You can ask him how he feels about these proposed changes, but I explained that this is an opportunity to install safeguards that we need to have in place to give people confidence that there's only one factor in every decision that's made, and that's what's best for the people of the city. And he has to earn that, and there's an opportunity to do that. I also have a strong team here. They have incredibly tight relationships with the mayor's team. And that constant communication is part of why was the stabilization of the situation last fall, and why that's what we're shooting for right now. So he's offered to work with us if we have recommendations on people, etc. But I want to make sure that the commissioners stay as well.
Have you recommended people?
It's early.
Bernadette?
Governor, so do you think that the mayor should resign on his own? And if not, do you think he has lost the ability to govern?
It is up to an individual to decide if they want to leave from office at any time.
So you don't think he should?
No, you did not phrase my answer correctly. It is not up to me to tell them to leave. It is up to an individual if they want to resign the office to which they've been elected.
Do you think that he's lost the ability to govern?
I am working to put in safeguards to restore the trust that is necessary to get this city back focused out of all this controversy and get people in New York City what they want. They just want normalcy again, and that's what I'm fighting to restore.
Allie, in the back.
So at this point, is removing the mayor from office off the table?
I use the phrase at this time.
So you may revisit it at some point?
I will never surrender power that I have.
Is there anything that could happen coming out of the court hearings that would change your mind?
I'm not going to say at this time. I need to see what the court happens, but I also, as I said, it is my duty as the governor of this state to make sure I'm aware of what's going on, that if there's problems, that I intercede, but otherwise these are duly elected officials who have jobs to do as well.
Mark, in the back.
Governor, the mayor and Tom Homan have discussed putting ICE back in Rikers. So with all these provisions that you're putting forward, would that stop that? What position would you take and what would you do to either allow that or stop that or any of the moves that they planned or hammered out between the two of them to do?
This becomes a question of whether or not that complies with the city charter and city ordinances. And that's something I'll be watching.
Do you want that to happen?
Melissa?
Listen.
Governor, you mentioned that this is subject to renewal at the end of 2025. What is the reason for that, and what situation would necessitate you continuing this past, potentially the mayor's term?
Ask me at the end of December 2025.
Matt?
Governor, the mayor has not answered any questions in the past few weeks about any of this stuff. He hasn't addressed the public recently. Do you think that he should answer questions and be held more accountable, and would that ease New Yorkers' fears?
I'm not his communications director. If he wants to do more interviews, get out there with the people, I encourage him to just do the job.
Does he owe it to New Yorkers to do that?
It seems to me he gets asked a lot of questions by all of you. I will say this. It is most important, and I discussed, let's focus on public safety. What we're doing in the subways is extraordinary. Crime is down. Our plans to have more police is working overnight. Let's close more illegal cannabis shops. Let's get the city of Yesh jumpstart. Let's start making progress here, build more housing. We have so much to do in this city. I want to just move here, but I'm not taking my eyes off the situation. I want you to know that. My eyes are still on the situation.
Yeah, in the back.
Is this new procedure, Governor, have to be reviewed by the legislation?
That's a good question. It would have to be home rule decision that the city council would propose, and then that has to be approved by the state legislature. Yes, and I've had conversations with the two leaders already.
How long is it going to take to be?
I don't set their timetable, but I said it'd be effective immediately once it's passed. So that's up to the city council to take the first step. Then it'll go up to the legislature, which will be in session again shortly.
Vaughn?
I just want to be clear that these proposals would only be in place for 2025. And in addition to that, how much has the potential entry of former Governor Cuomo into the mayoral race weighed on how you proceed in this issue?
0.
And this would only apply in 2025?
Subject to renewal.
Morgan?
Hi, Governor. If former Governor Andrew Cuomo if he somehow wins the election, is this something you think about continuing?
I will look at the facts at the end of the year and determine what's best for the city. These are put in place as an extraordinary measure at this time. I understand that. Not since the 1970s, with Mayor Abe Beame and Governor Hugh Carey, when there was a crisis that required that level of intervention. We are taking a number of steps that give us line of sight into budgetary matters, investigative matters, and legal matters to ensure that there's no area where any decisions can be compromised. That's what is necessary to give people the confidence to know that the right decisions are being made. And the mayor has to take the time to rebuild the trust with the people of the city. Those should go toward establishing people's understanding that there is other entities, the state of New York is keeping an eye on the situation.
Chris?
Thank you. Governor, since all of this is contingent on legislation, have you lined up sponsors yet in both the state legislature and the council? And on the council side, I've already spoken to multiple council members who are expressing discontent about you kind of punting to them. If you genuinely believe that there is concern about the mayor's ability to lead, but why punt to another body? Is there nothing you can do by executive power to restrict what's going on?
You know, it's not surprising there's difference of opinion in the city council. There'll be difference of opinion up in the state legislature. It is the normal course of business. I have spoken to leadership of both the city council, the speaker, also spoken to Majority Leader Andre Stewart Cousins and Speaker Kyle Hastings. It is a new concept to them. This is an extraordinary measure. I acknowledge that. I don't expect me to propose it today and it becomes law tomorrow. It takes some time for people to understand what's behind it and to have questions, and that's what a democracy is all about. So I'm not ramming this down anyone's throat. I'm saying I believe this is a place we can go to reassure New Yorkers that the fears that I've heard from many of them will be unfounded because we have some systems in place. That's what I'm trying to do, just try to stabilize the situation and calm it down.